You know, there are heroes and there are heroes. People who are not well known, at least in this country, but who do things that are really quite profound. One of them is Eli Beer, founder of the United Hatzalah of Israel. Eli, it's an honor and a pleasure to have you. Would you please remind the American audience, you were on here some time ago, it's been a while, what it is that you created and what it is that your group does?
Well, it's an honor to be by you. And our group is a group of volunteers, 8,000 paramedics and EMTs and doctors who our main goal is to get to every emergency throughout Israel within 90 seconds. And we use volunteers because they are there is no one who's more motivated than volunteers. And we use technology that locate the closest volunteers to every emergency. And we actually ride on ambucycles, these motorcycles that are like equipped like ambulances, so we could arrive within seconds and nothing stops us. And we go out to every day to about 2,000 emergencies.
Mm-hmm. About how many volunteers do you have?
So right now we're up to a little over 8,000. These are all active volunteers ready to go in any second of the day or night, every weather, and they're ready to go even this second as we talk.
And who are they? These are people with backgrounds in emergency medical care, that sort of thing?
Yeah, so we actually take random people like you, like me, like anyone who could volunteer. They go through training. We take these people, we put them in a classroom twice a week in the evenings, and they go through EMT training, emergency medical technicians. Once they finish the training, it takes about 6 months. We put them a little more training in the hospitals and on ambulances. And once they're ready to go, we give them medical equipment, a defibrillator. We give them a bulletproof vest and helmet so they can be protected. And we actually give them a device that knows exactly where they are, like a GPS phone, so we could track them if something happens nearby them. So every volunteer of ours, once they're finished training, they are fully ready to save people's lives.
October 7th happened. Tell us how your volunteers reacted.
Well, I do this for over 35 years. I started this when I was 16 years old. I actually wanted to reduce response time of ambulances in Israel from 17 minutes to 90 seconds. That was my mission. And over the years, I've been to many terrorist attacks. I've been to the worst terrorist attacks on buses, in restaurants, in hotels during the Passover, or many other really bad ones. But October 7th will be probably remembered as the worst day of my life. I woke up 6:45 in the morning when I got a phone call from our command center in Jerusalem telling me that one of our volunteers was just shot. And right near Sderot. And I jumped out of bed. I said, what happened? Why was he shot? They said, we don't know yet. We think it's a terrorist. They said a terrorist and a single terrorist. So I jumped out of bed and I wanted to know what happened. You know, every single one of these volunteers, they're like a child to me. I know a lot of them, most of them. And I run to see what's happening, you know, on my phone, and I check things out, and I hear another volunteer is yelling for help, is shooting towards him. I realize something is wrong. This is not a normal situation, and I'm seeing that reports are coming that hundreds of missiles are launched towards Israel. So I just got dressed, took my medical equipment with me. I took my vest, my helmet. I took my personal protection. You know, I carry a gun on me. I realized how dangerous this might be. And I was in Jerusalem. Within a few minutes, I was in the command center, and I never in my life saw anything like this. Usually we would have like 5 or 6 calls a minute. We had 556 calls waiting. I couldn't believe it. I thought it was a cyber attack. This is a 911 center. Our number is 1221 in Israel, but we have usually people call us for heart attacks, for strokes, for car accidents, babies choking. We had 556 calls, and I thought it was a cyber attack, but I found out really quickly it wasn't. These are people who were screaming for help, yelling, please help, save us. And most of them did not know where they were. They were most of these calls came from the Nova Festival party, where thousands of young people were dancing a minute before, and all of a sudden they were surrounded with hundreds of terrorists who were aiming to kill and murder them and rape them. And they were screaming for help. They were saying that we see dead people everywhere. We don't know where we are. Please come help us. And we had no way of helping them because we were in like attacked. Our volunteers were attacked. And then the first volunteer was actually killed was a volunteer of ours by the name of Dolev Yehud, who lived in a kibbutz near Oz, and his next door neighbors were the Bibas family, the kids with the redheaded children, the little babies. And he ran out of his house very early in the morning, around 10 to 7, to save his neighbors who were yelling for help. And he told his wife and kids, stay in the shelter, don't leave. His wife was 9 months pregnant. And he was yelling for help on the walkie-talkie, and we heard him. And then he disappeared. We didn't hear him anymore. Unfortunately, he was our first volunteer who disappeared. Only 8 months later, we found out he was murdered and he was burned to crisp by these terrorists. And it took 8 months to find out that he was murdered. We thought he was kidnapped. Then another volunteer of ours who was in the Nova Festival, he was actually
let me slow you down a second. These volunteers are wearing identification indicating that they are there for medical purposes only, but it didn't matter. They didn't care.
Yeah, they're all dressed up as medics, as paramedics. It says EMS, Emergency Medical Services, on it. And I'll tell you even more. This is in the festival party, we had a few paramedics and EMTs who were there trying to help people. And one of them was actually not Jewish. He was an Arab Muslim who volunteers for us. We have 750 Arab volunteers in the United Hatzalah. And they're very proud to save lives. They wear our vest, and it says clearly that they're EMTs. And this volunteer was yelling in Arabic to the terrorists. His name was Awad, and he was trying to save this young woman, this Jewish woman who was injured. She had 4 bullets on her, and she was dying. And he was trying to save her life. And he was talking Arabic to the terrorists, and they didn't care. They saw he was helping Israelis. Once they saw that he was helping Israelis, they shot him right there and killed him.
Jeez.
And they shot him 25 times.
Whoa!
These monsters. They killed a young woman who was right next to him. He was trying to save her. And that's when we realized that this is not a terrorist attack. This is not one terrorist. This is a war. I realized around 7:30 in the morning that this is a clear war on Israel. When I realized that it was coming from so many directions, from a big festival, from the kibbutzim, from Sderot, from Ofakim, from Netivot. All these cities were bombarded. And it was such a confusion, but we saw so many reports from our own people coming in. That's when I declared war in United Hatzalah. I said, everyone get dressed. Everyone's getting in the ambulances. You're getting in your cars, getting on the motorcycles. You're headed towards the south of Israel.
Mm-hmm. Very brave. So if people want to help you, if people in the United States want to help you, although the program's heard worldwide, where do they go?
We have a website. It's called israelrescue.org. You can learn more about the organization, support, buy medical equipment, defibrillators. It's on our website. You can learn and how to support United Hatzalah, israelrescue.org.
Eli Beer, thank you for everything you do, and God bless you.